There's use, there's misuse, and there's abuse. Don't get to that third one.
Welcome, like I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, to Open Daily, the new format, new layout, new lighting, upgrade. I'm sorry, RD's still here. Probably for the next episode, we can upgrade that chair.
So we're doing tryouts.
If you feel like you could take RD's spot, let us know. We got a couple new additions.
You must have a beard and be bald.
I feel like that chair is more comfortable. I don't mind going over there.
All right, there you go. Let's get this started, guys.
What do we got for today, man? What were some interesting topics? RD, what was talked about in the barbershop today or this week?
Talked about women and women.
Damn, is that all you guys ever talk about?
It's a barbershop. What do you expect? Yes, that's what we talked about.
Haircut.
And beer. Yeah, they come for the talks and to stay for the haircut, I guess. But
this is gonna be a lot harder than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On Monday of last week, what did we talk about? Not on Friday or Saturday. What were some interesting topics? I know we talked. There was stuff about the debate. There was stuff about football. Obviously, who's the best barber in the barbershop? Obviously, came up. Chair one.
Wait, that doesn't have, bro. That says 3 on there.
Hey, they say 3 is the lucky number.
Sure, if that's
Maybe
what you're
that's
gonna
what
keep
he
telling yourself.
You keep playing that number.
Eventually,
it'll hit.
You gonna get still nothing.
One of the topics.
What did we talk at the barbershop?
One of the topics was about the legalization of marijuana and drugs, and
that was a good one.
And if it has any effect on, there's other countries who have legalized certain drugs and people actually get help on it. It's crazy.
It got heated in the barbershop when we started talking about it. And the premise was, if we legalize drugs, will they be as effective or have a stronghold on our community as they do when they're illegal? For example, they legalized marijuana in a couple states in Nevada. I feel that you don't see people saying, I gotta smoke, or going out to smoke or smoke. There's more people smoking because of the medical reason, but it's not as prevalent as it was before.
Right. And I feel like,
I think that the legalization helps. We have examples all around countries that legalize drugs, and I think it takes the cool factor out of it. Somebody that's experienced in this field, what do you think, RD?
You got to think about it also, like legalizing it makes it less sketchy for the people who are trying to get it. So there's probably less robberies or less sketchy shit that goes down with.
Do you think people smoke less now that it's legalized here in Nevada?
Yes, I think so. Well, this is my opinion. I think when it's legalized, basically everyone it's no longer as fun as it used to be, because it's a secret. It's like, oh, I'm a little savage. And that was taken away from me. It's like, just like we were talking about.
That was taken away from you?
No, from anyone.
That's
basically.
You said you, though.
Not me. But just like we were talking about it this one time about like expensive merchandise, brand merchandise, like they had to raise the prices. Why? Because everyone had it already. It lost its value.
So in your experience, you are not seeing as many people saying, I have to smoke, or I'm going to go smoke, or even smoking as much? Or you would say that you see more of that?
I would say it's just as equal. But I find it like for weed, I don't hear it or see it as much.
It's not like a social thing anymore, or as it was. It's like, oh, come on, let's go smoke, or like, let's go drive and smoke, or whatever people did. I'm not 100% sure, but it's not like, hey, come on, let's go do this together. It's like, if you're going to smoke, you're going to smoke almost privately now, right? Because you can get it so much more easier.
Exactly.
I think even if it's being taxed a little bit more, people is actually buying and consuming more because of the options that they have. I heard it's a lot expensive. I personally
is.
have not gone in one of
Yeah, it's expensive.
the places where they sell it, but I have people saying, "Hey, bro, have you tried the Cheeto ones?" Or there's so many. They got
The
creative
Cheeto
with
That
it.
is whack.
Cheetos.
You
You
can
tried
tell
it?
you have not been in the cannabis industry, bro.
I have not. I really
He's
have not.
talking about Cheetos, bro.
Bro, they got creative. They got creative. There is because I mean I've heard about cookies. Everybody have heard about cookies and brownies and all that.
Yeah.
But when somebody told me, bro, there's gummies, Cheetos, and Pop Tarts and all this crap, I
Everything.
was like, what?
Bro, they have tortillas
well,
No,
that are
they
made out of
don't.
cannabis. Yeah.
On the east side?
Flour tortillas, bro.
is that what you
bro.
were feeding me the other day?
Maybe you might have felt some type of way.
I felt a little something when I left your house.
Let me
That
ask
was-
you this, RD. Being that you're into the stock market, would you invest into wheat stocks?
At the beginning, when the whole weed thing was being legalized, there was a spike in some of the stocks, but then it kind of went down. So I don't know, bro. I think that as it is being more, what would you say, legalized
Right.
and
I mean,
more natural, I think people is actually forgetting about it. To be honest with you,
Yeah, I agree. Like
right
they're just moving on to the next thing.
to the next
that's
thing.
what I
like
feel.
what's in?
I feel like if you're gonna try to look into the stock market, I feel like you should probably go into like hydroponics to go to the source that grows the weed. Because you get what I'm saying?
Mm.
The lighting company.
So explain what's hydroponics in the weed world.
It's a certain type of way. I actually don't even know. I need a fact check on that. Fact check on hydroponics.
So in that
I know it
case,
has to do with
we-
growing flower.
So
This is one of the upgrades that we did
Vegetables.
from the last week, because some stuff were said that wasn't corroborated. D-Money.
Yeah, suspect.
So we got a fact check guy. Fact check guy. What's hydroponics?
We'll be right back.
Oh, man.
That was a good one, bro.
All right. Wow. He got me.
How do you guys spell that?
No, so hydroponics is a way to grow marijuana with water and skip the soil.
Okay. But
Damn.
say like you mean it this time,
So-
though, you know?
So wait, hold on. So that do you have a picture of that there? So it's basically instead of soil, water. Is that what it is?
That's what I'm reading. Yes, that is
That is
in
very
fact.
And
interesting, dude.
it's crazy that it specifically targets cannabis.
That is
That
very
makes growing
interesting.
it like you don't have to grow it outside. I don't know if people will have a problem with, a weed farm down the street from their house. So that's very interesting. I think the cool factor, right, goes away, but then you have a social factor that's attached with the legalization of drugs. For example, there are countries that have legalized opioids and all forms of drugs, including like say prostitution and stuff like that. And you see a decrease in accidental overdose or drug overdose and drug abuse. There's a decrease in these countries. And I think Portugal started the program in 2001. You don't have to fact check that, all right? I saw you going for the computer. That's true.
Yeah.
But they legalized it such a long time ago, and that that it's working, because if it wasn't working, they would take the policy out, right? So I want to know, what do you guys think? Do you think that would affect our system? Do you think that the legalization of drugs will help us or hurt us? Kimberly.
Okay, let me think.
he was bouncing at the fact.
I think it will help us
Why?
because I don't know. Like I just personally think like it will reduce like criminals and stuff like that. Because people are they are killing people or like go out there and drug people, whatever it is. There's a lot that's going on right now. Because it's a hidden mystery. If it wasn't a hidden mystery and it was just all out, then I feel like people really wouldn't
It's almost like saying
Right.
if you don't know what to defend against, then you won't be able to put up a good defense, right?
Yeah.
So if it's legal, you can kind of like, I'm not saying to go and test it or anything like that, but you know what it does, right? It's mainstream, so it's more common knowledge. You know the symptoms of what you're feeling if, like, say your drink is drugged, right?
Mhm.
And I'm sure that's not how they legalized it for that use, right? But if it's mainstream, you can almost tell what the downfalls are of using the drug, because when it's illegal, it's like you can't use it because it's
You gotta
illegal,
have it.
right? Like now the people are gonna say, I want it because I can't have it, right?
Mhm.
Is that what you were gonna say?
No, like when you say that when it's illegal, people is like, I want it, I want it, I want it. And now that it's legal, people is kind of like starting to reduce. And on top of that, I think it's gonna help us a lot in the system by being taxed. A lot of companies are taxing it, and that's gonna help us in the long run. Or
I mean, when you look at weed here, right? Part of the taxes is to better the roads and for school.
Mhm.
So you're talking about generating millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes that are going to go directly into our school system, which is needed, especially here in Nevada. So that's like a big plus of the legalization
they're
of
getting
drug.
creative with those. And there's one that's got a drive-through.
Yeah,
Right?
cannabis drive-through. But that's just cannabis, though. Imagine if they legalize opioid, bro. That's crazy. If they're funding schools with opioids, that would be insane.
I mean-
I can't even picture that just because how normal weed has gotten in the industry.
Well, I guess it's helping some sort of way. I hope kids go to school.
How do you
Get
think
out there.
people that went in jail for the consuming or dealing weed feel nowadays, bro?
I mean, they're pissed.
Imagine.
Dude,
Like, dang, what?
There's
He
people
was
that
there for 40 years, bro.
I got
For
40 years.
for
there's
10
people that got
seconds,
there's people that got
Yeah.
30, 40 years for it,
It's
Mhm.
sad.
for just weed.
It's sad. Yeah. And
Do you think it changes the perspective on people? I mean, because I'm seeing one of my guests brought me a lotion, CBD lotion, and it's really, really good.
Okay, so you actually use it.
I mean, the lotion, but the other day my knee was hurting. I applied it and it went away immediately. Like I feel with more time using it for, for medical purposes, you can definitely take advantage of it. That's my take on it.
I hear you.
There's a negative connotation that comes with something that's illegal, right? How many medical uses does weed have, and people weren't able to use it? It saves like epilepsy, seizures. It saves a lot of different things, or helps with a lot of different things. And now that it's legal, the stigma's not there, right?
Mhm.
And then you look at it, this country had a prohibition era where the alcohol was illegal. So the law-abiding citizens didn't drink alcohol, but now alcohol is consumed mainstream. When you celebrate something, alcohol, right? When you're at a party, alcohol. At one point, it was illegal. Think about how many people wouldn't use alcohol if it was illegal.
Right. That's insane.
Oh, that's true.
I think we
see it
need.
like
I
that.
think we need to get an expert here. Somebody call D Money. Let's see what he says on the subject.
Yo, D. Hey, D.
He always takes his time, bro.
Hurry your ass up, bro.
Why is he moonwalking in?
That's D money for you.
Hello.
What's up, D Money?
What's up?
How do you feel the legalization of drugs will help society?
Okay, look. Here's the thing. So, in the mid 19th century in China, opium was a huge deal. Huge hot commodity. And actually, it really was for the British Empire and the French. And that ended up causing two wars. There were the two opium wars with the Manchu-ruled Qing dynasty. The thing is, though, that most of the population had a problem with the Qing dynasty because of the opium addiction, and they thought that these foreign powers were pushing them around. So a guy named Hong Chiquan, who was a Christian convert and was telling people that he was Jesus Christ's little brother, actually started a rebellion called the Taiping. And, they didn't really succeed in overturning the Qing dynasty and getting opium banned. But and it was also the most deadly civil conflict in human history. They estimate that the casualties were over 20 million. But yeah, opium was a big problem for China.
Now that we have a fact check guy, can you check if that's right?
We don't fact check the money.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is really true.
Did they get a little?
I'm scared of that guy.
Do you think that? And he walked out.
Why does he always do
course.
that?
D money, ladies and gentlemen. D money.
D money. D money.
I heard that guy is like 300 years old, bro. That's why he knows so much.
Man, D money. Do you
I'm
know how I
sure
met
that
D
guy-
money?
Mm.
You gotta go look at the backstage episode this week. The story is very interesting of how I met D money. We have a history, right, of drug abuse, of countries using drugs for power. You think that happened here?
Mm.
In
I-
America?
Yeah, I feel like we have a huge problem of like pharmaceuticals in the United States.
So countries have been known to use drugs for power and create organizations out of the illegalization of certain drugs and substances. For example, the mafia started to gain its power here in the United States with prohibition. If prohibition wasn't ever made, the mafia wasn't going to transport, alcohol. They weren't going to everything that happens when you deal in illegal substances, right? Like they're I don't know how it goes, but it's not just the transportation, it's the selling, it's the making, the controlling clubs, controlling environments. So if you think about it, no prohibition, no mafia, or not as strong,
Mm.
right? So imagine if prohibition didn't last or never started, which prohibition wasn't really to ban the consumption of alcohol. It was because ethanol was used to make alcohol, and car companies car companies were starting to develop the technology to use ethanol to power their cars instead of petroleum. So what do the petroleum companies do? They make alcohol an illegal substance because it's going to cut into their money. So imagine, how would the United States be right now if prohibition never existed? This is a reach, but would JFK have been assassinated? Will cars use petroleum? Will we be depleting the ozone layer? Would we be depleting the earth of its natural minerals and things of the earth, right? Like, will we be depleting all that if we started using ethanol? And this is where we're going to need a fact check guy, because prohibition was like in the 30s, maybe
20s.
20s. That was close.
10 years. 10 years.
So can you see, like,
So you think that certain drugs or certain what do you call it, drugs or certain drugs are not being legalized for a purpose? On purpose?
100%. For example, if
That
opioids,
makes sense.
yeah, it makes sense. I understood. And before that, you say everything has a reaction. Everything that you do has a reaction.
Mm.
So the prohibition reacted in all these chain of events. For the legalization of opioids and stuff like that, people go to school for and I'm talking about like nurses, doctors, therapists. They go to school to treat drug addiction. That's a career field because it's illegal. So a lot of people go into it because it's illegal, not because they want to try it. It's just like the peer pressure. So imagine professions would get wiped out if there was no drug abuse,
Absolutely.
or there wouldn't be a lot of people in that profession as there is now. Not only physical addiction, but mental addiction. Therapists go to school and make practices on the kicking of the abuse. How many rehabilitation centers are there?
That's crazy.
Done.
Right? What's the
Done.
number one downfall for like a lot of actors?
Drug abuse.
Opioids. Yeah,
Right?
They go that route.
When you have the money, you want to do stuff that's illegal. You want to do stuff that
It's
not
fun.
everybody can do. That's fun, right? So that to me is a chain of events. If we take like the lead on Brazil and Portugal and countries like that, Switzerland, Netherlands, our overdose rate is like a crazy multiple of theirs, because a lot more
That's
people.
What's the overdose days, right?
That's just crazy though. Either way, I mean, you think
Right,
about
right.
it because you think about it, and it's like it's a system. It's just like how cancer goes about, right? Like they say they have the cure for cancer, but they don't want to bring it out because they
Hey,
want
cut,
this
cut,
cycle.
cut, cut. You can't say that, bro. We're gonna get canceled, man. But no, it does make sense, right? And let's go further into it. Let's talk about the cartels became powerful because weed was illegal for such a long time in a lot of states. Think about how many murders, how much stuff goes on in the cartel business. I have no idea what the inner details of it,
Mhm.
but think about not putting those cartels in a position of power because
Yeah.
everybody's gonna traffic stuff that's illegal. But what if stuff's not illegal?
But they're gonna traffic it too. They're gonna get creative, bro. They're gonna go somewhere else.
I think this is why like they're starting to create new things and trying out new things is because their business is running low.
Yeah.
Low, or it's starting to get legalized.
Yeah.
Or
Starting to
There's
get
there's
legalized.
medication that you can get that does the same thing as heroin,
That's true.
opioids. There's little medication
Mhm.
that you can't take X amount of it because you're gonna get addicted to it. And I'm not saying that doctors do this on purpose, but how many people are addicted to pain medication after a
Absolutely.
surgery or after something happens to them, right? Because they abuse it. Or let's be real, right? How many people sell pills?
Right.
They get
Sell
a
their whole
prescription,
script.
their
Yeah, they sell
own
the
their
whole
own script. That happens all the time. So
You know what I've noticed that there is even less. Do you remember that lion there? Remember that he was like, "Don't abuse drugs," something like that.
It's
yeah,
there.
There, I
There.
see less commercials and less awareness to drugs nowadays. That line will be disappointing on a lot of you guys. But it's like
That
nobody.
will be disappointing on all of us.
Yeah, because
Bro.
it's true, bro. The system, in a way, I mean, I'm not sure if they're doing it or not. This is what I'm, my thoughts on it. But there's no longer awareness for not using drugs.
So you feel like because of that, there's more use
No, not necessarily, but I'm just saying is that this. Did you get the fact check on what's the overdose rate
of the U.S.
in the U.S. at least?
2017, it was 4.6% higher than it is in 2018. And trending rate is going down now that marijuana is legalized in the states.
Really?
Ooh.
Wow,
numbers don't lie.
See?
That's
from
insane.
2017.
That's 3 years ago. That's nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, they you can buy pharmaceuticals and people still sell pills, but I feel like what the major sellers like the mafia cartel are probably doing is they're making it in amounts, so they need to sell a bunch of them, so they're cutting them with fentanyl. Fentanyl is one of the most cause of death right
What's
now
that?
too. Fentanyl is something that they're cutting. I actually don't even know what fentanyl.
That's how
is.
they. So like if they
Just
have
cut
like
it.
a pound, they cut it. They have a kilo, they make 1 kilo into 2 with fentanyl. So they
Yeah.
use a chemical to make more of the drug so that they can make more money.
Mhm.
So a lot of people are consuming stuff that's going to kill them, like cyanide.
Right.
A lot of people are consuming these things because it's gonna,
They're trying to get their dose.
they're trying to get their dose, and a lot of the people that are distributing it, they're trying to make more of a profit, right? We all did, right? But on my Instagram poll, the split was 50-50. People were saying if you legalize it, it will help, and the other half were saying if you legalize it, it won't help. Mr. Yassine from the Circa Barry's Prime Hotel said, no matter what, anything in life that is prohibited causes more intrigue and desire to rebel.
I like how he put it.
Yeah, I like how you put it too.
Using drugs was never a cool thing. Whoever think it's cool is probably on one. Right? These are the comments. I don't think drugs are ever cool to do, but I think it's an exploration of oneself. People like to alter their state of mind for many different reasons. Alcohol is illegal and cool. And the last one, it would probably shift into how wild was your trip sort of situation, especially with hallucinogens.
So
And that's where I feel like, hallucinants and pharmaceuticals type of drugs are a complete different thing. Like you do shrooms or you do LSD. I feel like that's a whole different type of like consumption. Like you're not doing it to like, you're only doing it just to like hallucinate. Like it's not, to me, and to the people who I know that do it, it's not an everyday thing. It's more of a once in a while, like let's let my mind expose and open into whole another world. And I feel like spiritually it does help, and mentally, you know what I mean? Like you really go into another state of mind, and where you can reflect on your own life, and you can really see and open your mind, like I said.
They say the best viewpoints from far away.
Yeah,
If you're that close in your own life, you may not be able to see what you need to see to fix it, right? Or if there's something wrong, but maybe the hallucinogens, outer body experience, makes you see it from a different angle that you weren't able to see before.
I agree.
Yeah, I've heard like a lot of stories about meditating with shrooms and stuff like that, and how it takes you to a whole different dimension.
I'll say even this: some of the smartest people in the world did their work on hallucinogens, LSD. Sorry, LCD. I confused it. That's a new one.
I've heard a lot of athletes, they are under the influence of something to be able to perform better.
Dude,
But
Albert Einstein,
What did he do?
LSD
Mm.
and acid.
They're hitting the dose.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, you guys are throwing facts
Yeah.
here.
I mean,
Nikola Tesla.
Tim Burton.
My mentor Pablo Escobar.
bro, your Pablo Escobar is snorting coke.
No, he would do weed. So do you think that legalizing weed, because you said earlier that it took the cool factor, but I think it added to the cool factor.
I don't think. I mean, from what I've seen, I don't think it's as cool as it once was. I think it's like a normal, like going to the liquor store in some parts, right?
That is cool.
Yeah.
People
It is out here like that.
People try to turn 21, bro. The moment they turn
Is
21.
420 still a big thing?
Yeah.
Not this year.
It
Well,
is.
yeah, everybody
Not
was
this year.
losing money.
But it seemed like
Everybody
it
was
was a
locked inside
bigger
their
thing. It seemed like it was a bigger thing like back then, like 420, because no one really knew about it. It was, you're not
I can
supposed
see
to,
it.
right? So
was
I remember hearing like big house parties, like just 420.
underground, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's
I remember
ask
those times.
somebody that is really knowledgeable in this subject. Bricks? The underground 420 parties?
Yeah.
You know what? It was it was literally like that. Like everybody would just, it was like, hey, let's get together and smoke weed. And it would be like, let's get together and smoke as much weed as we can. You know what I mean? For what? You're gonna get the same type of high. And now I just feel like it's just a waste of.
But is there better quality nowadays on the street? Because I remember going to
Yeah,
school and high school, and people were like, "Oh, bro, these weed is from Cali. You gotta try it." And I'll be like, "Nah, it's okay." But now that we have the Cali weed right here,
Yeah.
Do you guys
So I
think,
think
it
it's
like it
cooler,
has
no?
more chemicals now?
I don't know.
Do I
I
believe
think it has less chemicals
Really?
because it's regulated. Now, any weed that you buy, there's
Oh.
there's like, I don't know how many points of inspection it passes, but the days of it being laced with something, if you buy that from somebody, if you buy it from somebody, your chances are higher. If you buy it from a dispensary, man, you know that it's going to be as pure as it comes.
Yeah. Bro, I used to be picking up weed where dudes would pull it out from their sock. They would have it in their sock
Right.
right here, bro. I don't know. They're serving me
was
up a Nick
sketch.
sack, a $5 sack, bro. You know how sad that is? We meet up
Sketch
people,
right there.
sketched out
Look-
people
look-
too. It
Look
was
at a fact check guy. He's like laughing. He's like, yeah.
He's been through that, bro.
I've seen it, so I've heard.
Were you
I've seen
passing it out like that?
He was actually my plug back in the day.
So let's round it out. Legalizing drugs is a good thing or a bad thing?
I think legalizing drug would be a really good thing in the future.
It sounds like crap saying that, yeah, let's legalize opioids and all this shit, but if numbers don't lie, that's what I believe. I mean, if legalizing it will really change it, let's see it.
Well, I first thought no, but hearing what you guys had to say, now I think it would be better
can you guys have your own opinions? That was my answer. My answer was to say, yeah, let's legalize it.
And also, like, people were messaging me too about it, so it made me kind of see on both sides, just like what they were saying to you.
Bringing this subject made you change your perspective.
Yeah.
And the show, good.
Nice.
Let me see
All
what my
right.
poll said real
It
quick.
made me change.
I mean, we passed the part of the poll.
Yeah. But mine was also like half and half.
Half, yeah. I was surprised that it was half.
Me too. Like,
Mine is not. Mine, everybody said no.
oh,
31 people said no, 15 people said yes.
that's because they're trying to tell you something.
They probably think that
They're like,
I abuse my drugs.
they're like, no more for you.
Your drugs abuse you, right?
There's use, there's misuse, and there's abuse. Don't get to that third one. Good night, guys.